Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Club. My name's Darren Hancock. I'm your host of the Breakfast Club this morning, and we are live September 18th, 2023, and the Breakfast Club has begun. So we're looking at a whole new week this week. Let's have a look at what we got. We got a little trade in this morning off of this slight break in market structure, a little fair value gap. Come back all the way into here. Got a stop loss. I'm going to sit right down in here, just below this low. I'm aiming for the new week opening gap. It's going to be a quick trade. See what we get for that. That's on the tech NASDAQ. I'm liking oil today too. Let's look at oil. Oil's come down into this mitigation block here. Well, no, it's actually a breaker. And we have this breaker here. Run above an old high. We've come down into that. Left a little piece open, so I'd like to see the next hour to come back, revisit the top of that inside here, and then continue to the upside. As I predicted last week, we're looking for an upside of $95. I think I had the daily set for. Yep, 95.10. That's the next run up. So keep that in mind. That's your upside. We want to see this daily fair value get back on top of here. I like to see it come back and just tag it one more time, and then we start pushing for higher prices at the end of reaching for that 95.10, which is mean threshold of the breaker on the daily way back yonder. 95.10 would put you in the middle of that guy right there. The 500 S&P, that's the daily chart on the S&P. I have a weekly fair value gap right here, which we may be keying off of right now. To run back up to the daily inversion fair value gap. So if we come back up into here, hit this, and then start running back down again, that's what I'm looking for this week. Looking to run back up into here and continue down, closing in this weekly fair value gap. There's another little daily fair value gap below it, and another weekly one. There's a daily price imbalance, and then we have also a weekly gap a little further down. So there's some drawn liquidity on the downside, huge liquidity on the monthly. There's a huge fair value gap here on the monthly. If we have a look at the month here, there's a huge gap down here. So this would be a drawdown. We have had 2 runs into it already. So I'd like to see maybe one more run down into here, at least at the top of that. That'll take us all the way through the end of the month. Let me make sure that made some changes to my ThetaWaveTrader today. So I want to make sure the site is actually capturing. Yes, we're capturing live today. That's good. Just a little old me on here this morning. That's all right. We'll see if we can find somebody on the old Breakfast Club this morning. Somebody wants to pop in and say hi. All right. That's open. All right, let's get back into the daily here to finish up the rest of this analysis. So yeah, I'd like to see something come back into here, draw into here. We've got a little tiny gap forming in here right now. So if today we get a small little candle today, and then a push back up tomorrow into that level, which is also the bottom of that fair value gap, I'd like to see that hit that cleanly and then start coming back down into this lower range. So I'm a little heavy this week for this. For the first day or so, a nice withdrawal back into the higher level here. If this we actually break, which we have actually broken below this low, so this becomes the breaker. If we can trade back into that breaker again and start reaching for lower prices for the rest of the week, that's my prediction. So we're always trying to think about how we can get in on a short this week. Maybe tomorrow start pushing for a look into this area here. Which would be up here inside this fair value gap we got here. I marked all these off, but the program that I've got is marking them off for me. All this other stuff is just noise right now. It's just marking off the same gaps that I marked mine in yellow. But it marks them right away for you. This is the open. See how it came all the way down to that weekly gap again? Tagged the top of it. I want to see it start coming back up into here. Start pushing for higher prices today. Oh, it took our stop loss. What were we on there? Okay, came back and took the stop. Let's get that out of here now. Had the right idea. Came back. Stop loss is a little too tight. A little choppy on this, but that's where the objective was. Had the right idea. The stop loss is just a little too tight. All right, so now we're going to wait till closer to 10 o'clock. Watch this area here, filling in. Old lows. So we get a reaction off of that. We're just going to drive right through them. So just keep an eye on this area here. We have a little breaker right here. Take these old highs out. We'll eat through that. Closing all this lot in. We have another breaker here. Lowest body. Oh no, it's not a breaker. It didn't break the old high there. Mitigation. Gap. Running right through. It's good. Nice little run up. So this is what we're looking for on that hourly I was calling. So we have an old week, new week opening gap up here. I'm going to see it break this, come down, find some support, and we're going to head up there. I'll leave that gap open. That's one of those island reversal type patterns if you're into that kind of stuff. So I like this here. So I like that as an inversion, but you can all come all the way back to the weekly inside that, which was somewhere around the top of the midpoint of that fair value gap. Now that we've gone through it, it turns into an inversion fair value gap. So I'd like to see that now come back, just touch the top of that, and leave the rest open. It can dip down into the midpoint, but I'd like to see it come back into here, and we're going to get long on that, looking for up here. We'll extend these the rest of the week. Excuse me. All right, so we're going to keep our eye on that area there. So this is a 30-minute one. It's sitting right in here. The 15-minute one might even be tighter still. Yeah, see there's another one up there. 15-minute fair value gap now becomes an inversion fair value gap. So we've swept liquidity down below the market. We've come back up. We're going to create a fair value gap here, key off of that, and run back up. So you got to kind of anticipate what's going to happen here. And this is like a right as the opening of the day starts. We've already run down and cleaned that out. And now we've come back to the order block. This was the open here. We've come back to the order block and blasted right through fair value, the whole new week opening gap, fair value, ran the highs. Remember what I said about the bodies? I like to see a body create the high here. When we're down in the 15-minute, this is fine. We have a zone here of fair value. If we have the body stay above that, come back, find some support at it, start pushing. Otherwise, this could be just a simple stop run and we can continue down on the downside. So I like to see the body finish up on a upside candle. I don't like seeing wicks just run these highs like this. We still have a little gap right here. Fair value gap, sorry. SIBI, BISI. SIBI, sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. So that's your SIBI. So now we're just dipping into that, and there's still plenty of time. So let's give you that little pointing the finger where it wants to go. Come all the way back down into rebalance this range first before it leaves. Be nice if it kind of just held off on this new week opening gap. We've broken through the opening of the week. Now we've run that out. So see, I'm going to wait now to see what happens at 10 o'clock. But this could be a nice big huge push back up now. Come 10. Yeah, I got a feeling this is going to push for a quick run up. We're not finished with the upside yet. I think I'm going to get off this level right there. Then we'll take another one down here. Keying off of this daily open. one fair value gap. There's another one here. I like to go usually for the second ones. We need that to stay open now. Right on 50%. Come back for a discount and push through. Bottom of that one. And we're going to put our stop losses down here. If I'm wrong, that runs these equal lows, then I'm wrong. I don't want it to get all the way into this gap again. Come back and balance this. Love to see that stay open. So I like to see a body of the candle get above here. Kind of trading against the rule here, which was the a body to break this. You get a wick, it's usually just a stop run. But I got a feeling it's still got more upside yet. Okay. So We got a reaction off the bottom half of that. Again, the wicks do the damage. The bodies are still inside that. We ate all the way through our weekly new week opening gap again. Now I like this continuation on the upside. Is what we're looking for. I want to see this with some fervor here. I want to see some enthusiasm get above that level. So we were calling for on the daily. Let's just recap here. So we're looking for this new week opening gap here. I like that upside. So that's where our objective is going to be for me for the day. Let's get into here. Tech. So what are we looking for? 15,292. Now I'm going to move these stop losses just because I don't want to see this come back into my, just want to move them to break even. I know it's a little early, but I don't want to see it come back into this again. I'm going to move my live account to there as well. This is that hourly thing we were talking about before. If it comes back down to here, find some support and keep pushing through. Or just give me a big run up all the way into the new, in the next 10 minutes. If this did a big push all the way through here into the new week opening gap, into that range, are we then going to start to get our retracement back for the lower prices we were calling for? So we're just trying to catch a retracement. Not always the greatest thing to do is trying to catch retracements. Kind of keep your focus on the lion's share of where you think the move's going to go on the week. If you try to constantly catch these little run back like this, you can get chewed up pretty good. As soon as it breaks the top here, breaks the high that it just made, we're going to take a piece out. So let's stick the bot in here. I like this. I can direct how many percentage I want out of my trade with my bot. So let's turn these guys on. Oh, come on. What the heck is that? Oh no, I don't want those. The problem with the box, it goes in and takes trades when you don't want it to. Not right now. Let's get those in there. So now we're going to wait for our 10 o'clock. The 4 minutes. Was this just a stop run? And now we have a big run all the way back down into our low, which is kind of fine. I've got my stop losses. I'll move to just over break even on that one, and this one's going to make a bit of profit. So if it does slam back against this, I don't want to see it start dipping back into this like it's doing now. If it decides to run all the way back down or come down, tag me and leave, I'm all right with that. You just want to see a body end up here on top of this thing, then come back and tag it. Though we could sweep all the way back into the midpoint, take me out, and then continue back up. So once again, my stop loss is drawn pretty tight. Here's kind of the psychology behind why you got to be careful about trading live. When I first got into Michael's mentorship back in August of 2016, by September, I was so convinced that what he was teaching was, he made it look so easy, and it was so, I could see what he was calling. I went to live accounts. I'm not going to lie to you. I went to live accounts and I blew thousands of dollars. My education wasn't just the mentorship price. It was every month I'd be loading in more money. And I was taking thousands of trades. I was like, when Michael, I think at that year, we were starting to get into 2017, and it was starting to get a little, it was like really waiting to find this perfect entry because the markets weren't acting that well. And you know, he was like 3 or 4 trades. I was in over 3,000 trades by then. It was insane. And that will create emotional scars. I tell you, that even 7 years later creates huge psychological scars for yourself, and you end up it messes with your head to the point where you're afraid to lose money. And you second guess yourself like crazy. Instead of giving yourself, like he says, give yourself time to develop your structure and your entry, and just give it enough time until you're sure that you want to enter into a live trade and you've proven that your structure works over and over and over again in demo accounts. Because if you don't, you end up getting these psychological barriers that you've got to try and overcome. The trading ends up becoming easy. Or easier. It's never easy, but it becomes easier, and you have to battle the constant doubts because you've traumatized yourself with live money, and you've really got to give yourself enough of a break, enough of time to prove it out. There's plenty of time. There's no rush to get rich. A lot of people want to get rich quick. There's no rush to this. It's a steady, slow, easy pace. If you rush it, you're going to take gambles, and it's that greed part of your brain that will take over, and that becomes the addiction side. That becomes the craving, like you've got to get this right. Or that you're going to get the big win. So here's our second. We've got a body above. Come back, tag it now. Now I want to see it start leaving. There you go. So I want to see that just get some legs now and start growing. Though on the 1 minute, you can still see there's a gap down there. But I want that gap to stay open now. Sorry, you'll sometimes hear a pause. It's just me about to have a coughing fit. Looks like it's going to make one more push down on the 1 minute into this area. So I'm going to shuffle these down to here. There's a little pocket right here on the 1 minute. Look at this. Right there. I want to be just below that. I'm just going to look for a silver bullet entry here. This little pocket looks like a great place to go. Let's key off of. As you see, we've come back into it here and here. So if she just leaves from here, I think it's going to come into here one more time. It's getting really choppy in here now. So let's just look at basic PD arrays here now, right? So this little range that we're inside right here. %, look at that. A lot of sensitivity at that. So we want to see this running down to 62, 75, optimum trade entry to go long. Here's 62% right there. Oop. And get another one down in here. And a close of that stop loss will go here. Remember your upside objective. That's what we're going for here. You can't just kind of keep running around back and forth. You want to do a quick snipe. You want to get a few handles out of that. The one we just called there is 24 handles, 37, 42. So that's 62% optimum trade entry inside that fair value gap. Stop losses here. I'm cleaning those out. This just became too much resistance for me. You come back into here. Might take something here, go along. There you go. Still got my live account going. Take some money out of there as well. Right in the middle of that new week opening gap. Found some support. Take something out of here if you're in. Take some out there and there. Just because this is high resistance right now. There's your order block. You can come back into this range again. Remember, upside still your hourly objective. Again, take another portion here and here. Pay yourself. No, that's not the rule. Stick with your rules. It's going to turn the bot on and take this as a fair value gap, but like I mentioned to you guys before, I don't like fair value gaps inside consolidations, especially this kind of chop. So I'm not willing to give him any more of any money. He just nibbled a bit this morning, but I'm not looking to jump on the train if I don't need to. So it is reaching for the hourly objective we were looking for, which is right there. We'll clean the old highs, so you should be taking portions off here and here. Pay yourself first. Keep your leverage super low here. Cut our leverage in half. There's a little one right here. Keep your eye on that area right there to fill. Now, if we push through here, get into this, maybe retouch that hourly gap inversion fair value gap again before leaving. I don't know. It's kind of a tough one to call, really. There's just so much chop. It feels like I want to get more upside, reach our upside objective, but they're going to do it by trying to shake off the fleas here. Hang on a sec. You want to come back into that little tiny range. They've extended that range here. They pushed above it, got above that little range we were just in, got back into an optimum trade entry, left. Those are your objective up there. And if you're not happy with the fact that we gave you 62% here, that's 40 and 46 handles. I don't know about you, but that's a nice little haul. Back into these equal highs. We're here to here now. Back to the order block. Now extend down or threshold. That's your rejection block. So now we want to extend our PDRAs. Into rejection. Look at this wick halfway through. There's your halfway. Now look for that 50%. Does it continue to blast through this now? Reach for these highs, or is it a halfway point? Gonna hold price for a discount, for a drive back down into discount and then run up. So the proper stepping stone is propulsion candle, back down into it. We're above the threshold. New candles above, come back into the high, the open, and the threshold. If we lose the threshold, we're looking for that 50%. So this is that step stone thing. Here, here. We want to see it push up above here now. If you don't get the discount, the 50%er, we have to lose this threshold to start running back into that 50% discount range. Mitigation. We haven't run below an old low yet. Inside that little inversion, there's a little tiny inversion gap right there. We've come back into it. Now does that give us some support when we start pushing up, supporting our rock climbing idea? That's a little tiny guy there. You just spell him out for you right here. Look at that. Now we're blowing through that. Good. So this does provide us some measure of support. Again, I was looking for, I wanted to get more discount out of that, but you can see how the steps are starting to happen. Now if we continue to provide support here, now if this comes back up and finds support inside these two candles here, you don't want to lose the mean threshold of this candle or these two, ideally there. You don't want to lose that. Fair value gap, eat through it. I know we're coming back for threshold now. Watch that. We start eating through that. Look for that 50% discount that we were talking about. We didn't get here. That's why it's all chop, right? Sorry, I have to go in these little coughing fits every once in a while here. All right, so we're looking at that 50% of that range still. Give ourselves a little discount. So look at this fair value gap right here. We have another little inversion gap right here. So this guy is here. Still not our 50%. So now we've got this validated as an order block. So again, we're back into that. Are we inside this range? And if you're playing inside a range like that, don't just settle for 50%, especially with all this consolidation and crap. I want to see all the way down into this 75, 79%, maybe a full fill of this thing here with the stop loss really close and a really small leverage, because we still have a little piece of fair value gap down here. See that? So if we have a run these lows and then push up, that's why this is not looking, it's all choppy chop. You'll get chopped up in this kind of environment right now. We're just going to read the tape. We're going to read the arrays from one to the next. So inversion gap, see how we're eating through it, That's not holding price, so that tells me we got more downside. This fair value gap here now becomes an area of interest. We hit the top of it. Let me just change the color for a second so it doesn't get too confusing. We'll go with plum. So we're looking inside here. We come to the top of it. Mitigation. This old height is not broken, so we're mitigating off of this. We have a order block, fair value gap, breaker, last up close candle, 4 run below an old low, come back up into breaker. You get short here. Wait for a fill. Let's go super low on this just to prove a point. We'll go short. That was a huge delay. Now your stop loss is supposed to go up here. And we want this to come down into here. Ideally, we're going to aim for that low there, but I'm just going to come in for a fill of that fair value gap. This is just to make a point about breakers inside fair value gaps and how well they work. That was a big delay. Should have got in right there. Inside that little fair value gap. Breaker, last up close candle before run below an old low. Breaker, fair value gap, breaker inside the fair value gap. Hit it, aim for your next low, so or your next objective, which is your fair value gap down here. So we get a piece here, you take a little piece off, we hit our little wolf, tell the wolf to feed the, we're going to feed the wolf here. Oh, we hit one. Ow, fed the wolf. There's 62%, we're inside there. Feed the wolf again. Ow. There we go, we're down to 7. We come and reach for our objective. Come on down. So I like these ones. There's such great opportunities when you look for a breaker like this. inside of a fair value gap, it's almost a sure thing. I like feeding the wolf. Down to 7. We're going to bring this to break even now. I'm just going to go a little over that. Now we run down and take another 10% off of our wolf. Midpoint. We'll make this a zero stress trade. Right off the top of this old fair value gap, remember? This was the one we wanted it to come back to. Take some more off. Let's feed the wolf some more. Ooh. So that's a nice little area to key off of. We dip down into it here. Wicks do the damage. I'm going to close that out just because I like the idea of that was our entry. May not have got our close, but we got portions off. It was a positive trade. Anyway, that's my point about a breaker inside of a fair value gap. Man, they're pretty much sure things to get yourself some easy handles. So especially if you break an old low. So you break this old low gap, that instantly becomes a fair value gap. Sorry, instantly becomes a breaker the moment you break this low here. And if there's a fair value gap above it, 1, 2, 3 is your entries. You may not get all 3. That's why I like to go with low, medium, and higher leverage. No more than 1% of your account. Put your stop loss up here, and you're aiming for the next swing low, which is right here. And you're obviously your objective down in here, which was your fair value gap. So that's your. And no one was here to see it. How sad is that? That's all right. Maybe I'll catch it later. But that's a good, clean entry. Now you're going to ask yourself, are we going to fill the rest of this? And then what happens after that? So the only portion we've got left now. So what we want to do is this thing to come down, fill this right like this. Thank you. Boom, done. All right, so now there's your next downside objective. If you took another portion off for the old wolf, and you got your objective down here. So we're back to the top of this again. I like this for a long. But I'm not going to take it long there. So that guy's done. Now you want to see, do we get below this, come back, find some support at it? Now does it become an inversion? Excuse me. Does this become an inversion fair value gap again now? And we start to push down for more downside. Or we just come back to the new week opening gap, tag it, and leave. So if you can start playing both sides of the equation, see, I can choose both directions. All the more reason to stay out of this, because this is really choppy, really messy. Well, I'm trying to show you some quick, if you can see a sniper activity or a sniper opportunity here, like this we just talked about here and just played it out, then by all means take it. But you got to be nimble because you can get really beat up inside here. Our upside objective for the hourly still hasn't been met yet. Gave us the impression it was heading there. So if you were really caught up on that and you didn't wait, didn't have the patience to get in right down in here to go long with your stop loss sitting down here, or you see that opportunity to grab on something quick, then you're just going to get beat up and you're just going to hand your account over to somebody today. That's not the place to be. So wicks do the damage. Bodies are still respecting the inside of that fair value gap. We've balanced that price. Now I want to see a nice break above this. A body above, come back, find support, and start to push back up for our hourly objective. So like I told it what to do. So we've got this little pocket here now. So we're inside this guy with another reversal type island reversal thing starting up here. If this starts pushing through here, I want to see us get above this candle's high with a body, not just a wick. I want to see a big body come up here, come back down, get some support on top of this. No, not an island reversal at all, just balance and price inside the fair value gap. What did it come back to? Old lows, top of the gap. I'm going to have to start saying, I can't say gap because it's not a gap. A gap is when there is no price. This is an imbalance. So if there was, these wicks weren't not here and it was just an opening, that would be a gap. This is a price imbalance right here. This little tiny wick on either side. So this is good. So now we've got a downside. So it didn't push us back up. So we've got that step type thing happening here. We finally ran the lows. So if this guy here, that was your objective, you just cleaned it. The next objective is here. Back into consolidation. So I like to look at these consolidations and say, what have we got here, young filler? And I look at this little area right here. Burk. Let's put a little box right in here. There's a little price, tiny little imbalance down in here, inversion fair value gap here. But I like to look at this consolidation. I like to take the top of it. If we come back to the top of it, which was right there. Now if we start to dig through this next low, which is where you would have got your objective there, and the next one is there, I'm looking for 50% of this range reversal into. And then do we get some support, some measure of support off of that 50% range? And then start moving back up again. So now we're at the bottom of our 1 hour fair value gap. Like you look at that on the 1 hour. There's the 1 hour. We've come all the way back into that range. We've balanced it out. We've dipped down a little deeper. Does the body respect this now? Just the wicks did the damage? And then do we start to push back up again? I do like that, still like that upside objective. This might be a great opportunity to get low or to go long on this. Not that you should ever predict lows, but if it comes into my box, I'm going to take a very small trade. We got a lot of equal lows down here too. There's a lot of lows there. That's a lot of candy land sitting down in here. So if we're driving for price, so this is the downside liquidity right here. That's the sell side. So if we run that, this is where I'm not sure. So I'm not actually going to take a trade now, even though I've just saw this. With all this liquidity sitting down in here, that looks like a great place for price to run back to, clean out all that pool of sell side. Keep an eye on that little area there and that little inversion guy there. New fair value gap, SIBI here. Do we get through it? Create a little another missy. Find some support at the top of it. And that's our low for run up. Again, measure your premium and discounts. So if that's the upper range right there, down to here. That brings us back into this inversion fair value gap. 50% to push down further. Got gaps overlapping all over the place. It's just so choppy right now. But it is supporting price. Supporting price. This original entry we took up here, which I was telling you, which is just a golden one. Aiming for here and here is your downside objectives if this is not a short snipe that you wanted. We took the short snipe and kind of played with it on the way down. 1, 2 objectives. You should be well out of your position, or mostly out of your position now. Your stop loss should have been trailed below and above an old high here. You've come back into this fair value gap, into this breaker, run above old highs. And we're keying off of that to keep coming down lower. So if we run back up into this little piece here, we can run all the way back up into here. Here's the breaker. So keep your eye on these two candles here. That inversion fair value gap there to keep pushing down. And when you look at this side, I'm going to argue both sides here. Order block. We have a swing above, come back down inside these two candles. Small little gap open. Start pushing up. Now we want to get above this fair value gap here, this SIBI. Get a body and continue pushing through for premium to discount. Now if this is a continuous step down, what we're looking for, then you should be able to get back up into that order block inside the inversion fair value gap, and then are you going to continue down? So you got one that supports up, one that supports down, inversion fair value gaps, a lot of uncertainty. When you start to get these turnarounds here, now you're going to start asking yourself, are we done? Are we done on the low here? Didn't quite get my objective for the 50% of the range. Close, but no cigar. So now what we're doing is we're working through this gap now, this SIBI. Now, does that provide a measure of support for us to start working our way back up again? We want a body above it, not wicks. Now, if this comes all the way back down to here, you get in for a long tagging the top of the the bottom of the inversion fair value gap we talked about, perfectly off of there. Now does it drive all the way back down hard now? Or does this little inversion or this little fair value gap now provide support? So then you're going to be between here and here. Which one's going to hold? And size really doesn't matter. Inside the weekly new week opening gap, I want this thing to kind of hold. Let's see if this holds the price now. That's like one pip below than that. Inside that fair value gap, we want to see that hold price now. And continue to the upside. If we lose it, come back into the bottom of this and drive through. Keep your eye on those lower liquidity pool. Yeah. Keep an eye on my 50%. Just ran these lows. Did not hold price. I just ran the lows. No. Do we have a measure of let's get busy, let's get going here now? So close to what I was calling for. 50% of that range. Where do we see that 50% was? 50% is on that button there. Keep in mind the hourly objective is still up. So we're going to see some breaks in market structure here. I like this. I'm going to turn the bot on here. Run that low. Inside a consolidation. There we go. It's going to drop a couple in there. Okay, we'll close those out. Well, it's back on, so I'm getting rid of these. See what happens on the next set. Why the hell was that canceled? Keeps closing out my trades here. We get back into this area here. We can go long anywhere off of this one here or this one here. even off the top of that. You can get long there. If we get on top of this one here, you get long there. I still have a live trade I took off of here earlier. So if we can get back into there, we'll take a make sure I got the right. I'm gonna move my stop loss on my live trade. I've gone to the bottom here now. Now that we've broken this high, I want this gap here to provide support. We can come back to the top of it and continue on now. I don't want to see it break this low. We got upside objectives we're aiming for, and we're still looking for that hourly objective up here. $15,293. I'm going to put my that's the support we're looking for. A little late. I was trying to find this key off of that one there. Got a little late. So they want to go up now. That's my objective upside there. Stop loss will go down here. And we'll see how that pans out for tomorrow. I will report later on today and let you guys know how that one works out. If not, join in tomorrow and I'll show you when and if this one pans out. Maybe coming back to this old high here. look for here now. Yeah, we're going to drag that down here. This is our next objective. Still staying inside here. Old high. We'll see where that goes. I like this one to stay open. My stop loss will go here if I'm wrong. I'll get back to you guys tomorrow, and we'll or later on at the end of the day, and I'll let you know how that trade panned out. Keep in mind you want to take pieces off here, here, and here. Pay your trader. Little portions along the way wouldn't hurt. Anyway, that's for me for this morning. This is a good trade day today. There's a lot of chop going on here. We had a nice little entry for a breaker inside the fair value gap. I like that one. That was perfect for taking some liquidity out of the market. And we're looking for now a run for the higher objective, which was the hourly. So we'll see how well that pans out. With that, I will see you guys tomorrow, and I wish you all the best. Remember, pay it forward. If you're making some money, share some of your wealth with less fortunate, and let's make this world a better place out there. All right, all the best. Talk to you guys soon.